My sister, 44, recently went through divorce and moved in with me, 32, and my son, 15. She has a 12-year-old daughter. I've done everything to make her feel comfortable. My son's friends used to come over almost every day, but she said her head hurt from all the noise, so I talked to him, and now they hang out in park or someone else's house. My son has Tourette's syndrome. It's not that bad, he has tics every few hours which are swearing and squealing. He has tic attacks sometimes but not often. Yesterday I walked in on my sister lecturing my son, telling him how it's totally inappropriate to do that in front of her 12-year-old and she doesn't want her to hear that. My son was trying to explain that he can't control it, but my sister accused him of lying. I told my son to go to his room and basically told my sister that she was being completely ridiculous and she could stop acting like an idiot to my son or leave. She got offended and left. Apparently she called our parents and they called me, calling me an idiot for kicking out my sister and leaving her during this hard time. Not the idiot. She's one of those idiots that believe disorders are made up and thinks they know everything. Good on you for standing up for your son and not letting that be ill-treat him. She did you a favor leaving. You didn't kick her out and your parents are rude and disrespectful. They should have called and asked you what happened instead of jumping to conclusions. But at least you know where they stand. She kicked herself out. You shouldn't feel even a bit bad, you did the right thing. I hate it when people look at other people with various disorders and tell them they're faking it. If anything, you should know you're an awesome parent. The trash took itself out. If she still has a key, change the locks just in case. Seriously, has the world always been full of rude and entitled idiots, or is the virus just making them multiply? I swear there seems to be a story like this at least once a week. You did your sister a huge favor by letting her move in, and she repays you by belittling your son's disability and making him feel unwelcome in his own home. Tell her to take a flying leap. And your parents too. What nerve. Not the idiot. She didn't even care that he has a disability he can't control. Way to show your daughter to be patient and kind and listen, lady. Complete sarcasm, she is the idiot. Good for you. You gave her a choice and she chose to leave. That's on her. Hard times? Look what we are all going through. We are all having hard times right now. Go spout your hard times line somewhere else. She can go live with your mom, and your mom can go ahead and let her be disrespectful, but that's your house, not your sister's. So I, 38, had COVID in March. On a ventilator, in the hospital, permanent lung damage, the whole thing. A friend's sister, 39, begged to use some of my garden space to plant a garden. I have a large farm. I made it clear I wouldn't be able to tend to her garden as I am still recovering and get winded and tired easily, and the humidity is really hard on me. All good, she promised to take care of it and plant a few things for me for letting her use the space. The good deal is I love gardening and fresh produce and didn't think I would be able to do it myself this year. I paid someone to come till the space. It is a very large space. Personally, I plant things in rows far enough apart to be able to take my tiller between the rows to get most of the weeds. Early in the morning I would plant a few things at a time for myself. She would drop stuff off at my house that she wanted planted but would never actually do it, citing she was too tired. She does not work and has 2 children, the elder, 14, who lives with her. The only day she helped, she planted about 4 of the 45 pepper plants that she had bought and then said she was too tired to even finish. I finished the peppers for her and planted some onions her sister, my friend, has given me. These I will give her if they live. I don't need 40 different kinds of peppers and that many onions. I've been trying to get her to help pull weeds, water, make fence and generally help me take care of this garden. She always says she will but never has. I told her that her peppers were going to be lost a week soon. She dropped off a super small tiller at my house while I was asleep and told me that shouldn't make me as tired as my larger one. I was baffled by that. She informed her sister, my friend, on how she plans on giving and selling my full garden harvest to people at a Mormon church. I am livid. Some days I seriously almost called 911 because I was barely able to breathe after only working a few minutes. I plan to freeze and can the majority of my garden to keep my grocery bill down. I told her I would give her the onions and peppers, but everything else is mine. She did no work and did not put any money into my garden. Her other sister, 49, is telling her I am being unreasonable. And her church friends think I am as well. They all think that, because she plans on giving and selling this to her church, that I should let her. I am not religious, so that type of rationale does not work on me. I do volunteer at a food pantry and planned on taking some there. They also think I am awful for taking away from a single mother. I know her older sister knows the full picture and not just her side, and she still thinks I'm being awful. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Hell no, tell her, and anyone that asks you, that you clearly told her she was supposed to do the work if she wanted the bounty, and that instead she's trying to take advantage of you, well you are ill no less, and now wants to take all the bounty from the extremely hard work only you put in to steal your vegetables. Clearly she's not learning jack crap at church. I hate moochers. I'm sure she's telling her sister and her church friends some grand bullcrap about how much work she did. Make sure to at least clear that up with her sister. It's your garden, and you did the work. Well, in recovery, for goodness sake. I think you're being generous giving her the onions and peppers. She doesn't deserve any of the vegetables and harvest from the garden that she didn't help tend and didn't contribute to aside from plants that you had to plant. This is all nonsense. I hope you continue in your recovery and stay well. Not the idiot. Even if you were in perfect health, the point is you have spent money, you have planted, you have tended, and it's your friggin' garden in the first place. All she can claim is the plants she provided, and even then it's a limited claim because you did the work. Religious pressure does not apply. If they were so worried about it, they should have helped you. I'm a person of faith and I'm telling you that letting someone do all the work and then trying to claim the harvest is not how this works. If they want to use religion as a yardstick, they should be offering you help to manage your daily life, not try to steal from you. I, 28, have been with my girlfriend, 22, for about a year now, and things have been going really well up until recently. We live in separate apartments and we're spending about one night a week together at my place, but recently it has turned into 3 or 4 nights a week. Now, don't get me wrong. I love having my girlfriend sleep over, and I could even see us living together one day. However, when I ask her to start paying $24 each night she stays over, she got really upset. I explained that all of my utility bills have gone up significantly since she started staying over more, and that $24 for one night in an $1,800 a month apartment is a great deal. Heck, I wish I got to live in my apartment for that little. Anyway, her and her friends think I'm being unreasonable, and her friends are telling her to dump me. I really love her and don't want to lose her, but I'm afraid of ending up in a relationship where bills aren't split equally, and I don't want to be with someone who just sees me as a meal ticket. I think it's reasonable to ask her to help pay for things now that she's spending more time at my place, but maybe I'm wrong. Am I the idiot? You're the idiot. Are you kidding me? You sound paranoid as all hell that a woman is going to end up dependent on you, and it makes you seem very insecure that your girlfriend might view you as just a meal ticket. Don't you have other redeeming qualities? You need to work those feelings out with your girlfriend or possibly a therapist. As pointed out by others, your girlfriend also has her own apartment to afford. It's not a great deal to pay $24 to stay over at your own boyfriend's apartment in any world. Ask her to chip in for meals and food that she eats at your place if you feel that you are currently spending more on food for joint meals than she is. It's a much more reasonable request. You have 3 options. 1. You could have her move in and split bills. 2. You could start splitting time at her apartment. Or 3. You could break up because you're clearly more concerned about the financial aspects of a relationship. You found a 4th worse option and picked that one. The fact that you explained how staying in a $1,800 a month apartment is a great deal is probably the most offensive part. The fact you think she should be grateful for that is nuts. Have you ever been in a relationship before? Also, it's not that great of a deal. It's only $6 less than what she would pay for rent per day if she actually lived there, on top of the rent she's paying at her own place. You're the idiot. You're asking her for $24 a night, 3-4 times a week. On the low end, that's $288 a month just to spend time with you, $384 a month on the high end. You said your water and electricity have gone up $50 each, so that's $100, plus the $100 for internet that is apparently all because of her. Even if you attribute all of these increases to her, you're overcharging her by at least $88. You're the idiot. Don't invoice her for coming over when I'm sure you want her to be there in the first place. My husband of 3 years and I live in a coastal community with our blended family. 4 kids, 11, 8, 6 and 2. 2 days ago, a mandatory evacuation was ordered for our area due to Hurricane Laura. My mother-in-law had previously offered us a place to stay if we had to leave, and we did as fast as we could. My sister-in-law was also evacuating there with her husband, her 11-year-old and her 26-year-old son. My brother-in-law also offered us a place at his house, but it's smaller and would mean asking his teenager to give us her room. We didn't want to spring that on her last minute. Mother-in-law has plenty of space, and we've stayed there with sister-in-law's family comfortably many times. I needed a good place to work while I was there. Sister-in-law would be working too, but I always set up in a very small office room and figured she would probably use mother-in-law's bedroom office, which has way more space. It took us about 6 hours to get there, and when we arrived at 8 p.m., we are all tired and grouchy. Mother-in-law met us as we drove up to the house and directed us to park in front of her storage shed, which is a short walk from the house. She's on a ranch with several acres. I wasn't even out of the car when she started ushering the kids inside the shed to explain the sleeping arrangements. Apparently, she had spent the day turning the shed into a guest house for my family. To give an accurate picture here, this is a maybe 120 square foot shed, generously estimated, separated into 2 small rooms. It's not insulated, but there is a small window AC unit in the back room. Most recently, her youngest son used it as a grow house for mushrooms. Before that it was stacked with boxes, old furniture and was home to local bugs rodents. She had cleaned it out and put in a pull-out lavesiette for the kids and a cot each for my husband and I. There was also a TV, mini fridge and a small table with a chair in the back room for me to work. Mother-in-law explained to my kids that everything they needed was out here, so there would be almost no reason at all to go inside the actual house. There's no bathroom. No running water. Wi-Fi is spotty, and my office phone has to plug directly into a router which is inside the house. Our toddler still wants warmed up milk at night, but no microwave in the shed. It's a short walk to the house, but it's dark and coyotes are sometimes an issue, so the smaller kids can't go alone at night. Sister-in-law and her family would be split between the house's 2 large guest bedrooms. She would be working inside and would be too busy for kids to be in the house. Frankly, I was stunned. Speechless and fighting tears. My husband was angry and embarrassed. He politely thanked mother-in-law for her trouble, but explained that it couldn't work for us. He got us back in the car, called his brother, and we drove another 2 hours to his house. Mother-in-law and sister-in-law are mad they did so much work for nothing and say we should have planned to stay at brother-in-law's in the first place to accommodate sister-in-law's job. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I debated whether to give your mother-in-law the benefit of the doubt that she meant well, but no. There is no way she genuinely thought it'd be totally fair to offer 2 full guest rooms to a couple with 2 older children and a literal shed to a family of 6 that includes a 2-year-old. She raised kids, she has to know that you can't care for young kids without access to running water. I don't know if mother-in-law or sister-in-law was the ringleader here, but they're definitely being idiots. I'm so sorry, that's just awful. Yes, they cleaned it out, but to be angry when a shed would not work for a family of 6. No running water. I'm particularly disgusted by her remark to the kids that they don't need to come in the house for anything. Don't second guess your reaction. That setup was offensive and they are angry because they are wrong and hopefully mortified, but unwilling to admit it. Don't second guess yourself. Mother-in-law and sister-in-law attempted to treat you and your children like barn animals. I don't know the reason for you staying there previously, but I would never stay again. I would probably never even visit. Sister-in-law having to work is irrelevant. She had a separate private room with a door to work in away from everyone else. To insinuate that your kids are too wild to be inside a proper home is disgusting. You aren't wrong for feeling the way you do. You aren't out of line. You aren't being unfair or inconsiderate. What they did is awful. I am so sorry. Just had a fight with my SO because of what I told our daughter about legit violence. Going to roll the story out as short as possible. So there's this kid in my daughter's daycare. He's the same age, but often shows some strange behavior. Overall he's a cool little brat, and I actually like him for being somewhat rebellious, mostly because I think his parents are crazy helicopter parents. Anyway. My daughter told me that this kid greets her every day way too hard, for example, hugging her uncomfortably long and forceful. Sometimes he kisses her in this situation. She says that sometimes she laughs it off and thinks it's funny, but sometimes she really doesn't want it and he won't stop even if she yells at him. I saw those greetings sometimes and know what she means. She already told the teachers, but they barely see it happen and the other kid won't stop it even after being told by the adults. So basically I told my daughter that it's totally okay to push someone away in such a situation. I said if someone hurts her and won't stop even when she screams at him to do so, when the other kid forces kisses upon her and so on, it's absolutely fine to push him away. I watched her thinking for a few seconds, then she replied, but he might push back or beat me if I do this. I simply told her then you push him back again and run away and tell an adult. My SO overhears our conversation and told me I'd be wrong here. That it's always better to tell the teachers and not use violence at all. I said I didn't tell our daughter to beat random kids up, and we are very straight in raising our daughter concerning violence to other kids, but to use legit force in a situation where someone violently forces himself on her. I think our daughter is old and clever enough to recognize the difference. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Go dad. Seriously, girls are told so often he just likes you and be nice. You did the right thing. She should push him away, say loudly, I said no, then if she can, walk away. Hopefully the loudly saying I said no will get an adult's attention, if not just keep marching to a carer. I would also be having a word with the carer and teacher about personal boundaries and the importance of kids understanding their bodies are their own. It is a lesson that if learned young, just becomes common sense. I've told my daughter a similar thing regarding her younger brother. There's another boy at school who occasionally grabs the other kids around the neck from behind. It sounds like a wrestling move he's picked up on. My son told me it's happened to him a few times and it definitely isn't playful. The school, of course, has no idea and won't do anything about stopping it. I told my daughter if she sees this happening in the playground, it is the one time she has my permission to do whatever she needs to get this boy away from her brother. Not the idiot. Teachers do jack crap when girls are harassed by boys, so teaching her to stand up for herself is the only way she will have a chance to enjoy her school years. Sincerely, girl who was unable to play undisturbed during the entirety of elementary school because the boys are in love with you, that's why they steal your things, etc. Boys will be boys.